Hello and welcome to another edition of The Tigers Down Under. I'm your host, Alex, and with me this week, I've got Mike. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. So we have just come off the back of an international break. Ordinarily, we would have been doing our flashback series, but we finished those now. So we actually got a week off ourselves as well. So we will cast our minds back all the way to the Bristol City game last weekend. But maybe before we do so, as I try to do whenever we've got someone on the podcast who hasn't necessarily been on this season yet, might get your thoughts overall on, I guess, how the season started, how the transfer window went, new manager, everything that goes with it.
Yeah, I think I'm historically known as the person that looks at this with a very negative light. I think that's how I'm referred to in the group chat.
Until we win a couple of games, and then you get very positive.
I really swing. I swing either way. I do my best to try and stay level, but it's always hard with Hull. I think overall it is a lot better than I thought it would be, and I think that's the sentiment that I think a lot of people share. And pre-season, I was super negative prior to going undefeated. But I think it's been good. I think the transfer window for me has probably been about 95% great. I think what I would have liked to see was another centre back come in other than Ajayi, because I think, when Hughes has games like he had last game against Bristol and Ajayi's injured, and you kind of have to rely.
I guess we did get Fanboy, but he's injured.
But I also think then you're relying on 18-year-old McCarthy or McCartney.
McCarthy, yeah.
Yeah. So and not to say that he wasn't great, but he was definitely thrown into it without necessarily the experience. So I think other than that, I'm pretty happy with the way the window went.
I'm almost also concerned at the other end. Like if McBurney goes down with an injury, great to see. We'll talk about the game, but great to see Joseph get off the mark. But you think there's not much behind McBurney?
I'm not too worried about that because, we've got Miller coming back in. We've got Balumi that's getting really good time in the under-21s and scoring. So I think if there needs to be a shuffle, then either Joffy could go up front, Balumi's on the wing, or Balumi could go up front, Miller could go up front. I think we've got the quality there. It would have been nice, of course, to have another striker.
But as Cam says there, we've got Burstow doing well at Bolton.
Yeah,
call him in
crazy,
January.
Right? Burstow's killing it, which is really good to see. And I think
I feel like we were saying last season, he just needs game time.
Yeah, I think it's a tough call to say bring him back or recall him because I think he needs the full season to just. I think he needs a really good season under his belt to give him the confidence that I can play at the level that I think I can play, or that he knows he can play. I'm not worried up front, and I think McBurney has surprised me so much. I thought he was going to come in and not get as much game time, or just be that experienced striker that Joseph can learn from, and he's completely proven me wrong, and he's already just firing.
Yeah, what is it couple of goals, 3 or 4 assists as well.
It's not even the stats that I'm looking at. It's just how he is as up front. He's dropping back, he's holding the ball up, he's always involved in the play. I think looking outside his contributions, he's just brought an energy into the squad up front that I don't think we've had for a very long time.
Yeah, no, for sure. And we've got Jez also making the point at the other end of the pitch, Panda. We'll probably start to move on to the game in a second, but maybe the last one in terms of start of the season as a whole. Panda, to me, I thought it's a tough one, right? Because for me, when Rosenia brought him in, didn't play him very much, or didn't play him at all really in that first season, you go, well, clearly he's not seeing what he wants in training. Then over pre-season with Volta, he was not great. And we thought, okay, maybe this is what Rosenia saw. Then starts the season really well. And we go, oh, geez, actually he's looking amazing, wins player of the season. Has started this season not in the best of form. Maybe there's some interest during the transfer window, turns his head, whatever it might have been. But, there's clearly a player there. We saw it to start last season. Where are your thoughts on Panda and his form so far?
given the pessimist in me, I'm going to try park that, but I think it's almost too early in the new system to be able to call him out. I think he's had mistakes. I think Hughes has had mistakes. There have been mistakes from players that we normally haven't seen mistakes from. And I think it's just adapting to playing the way that we're playing now in the championship. I think preseason was one thing where we didn't necessarily have the level of competition that the championship is bringing. So I think I'm hoping the international break has helped a lot to just help them reset and go into the next game. But yeah, I'm not going to call him out yet. I think he's probably aware of the mistakes he's made and the fact that he needs to get some confidence behind him, like Jez said. And I think hopefully a clean sheet soon will do that for him.
Yeah, well, we'll talk Bristol City briefly. I mean, like I said, it was 10 days ago, so a lot of water's gone under the bridge since then. But yeah, 4-2 loss. What was that? 4 goals against Bristol City, 3 against Blackburn, 2 against Oxford, and 3 in the cup against Wrexham. So it's a lot of goals.
It's open attacking football, right? That's what
Ajuan wants. Yeah. Yeah. Joseph off the mark, as we've touched on. Yeah. I mean, Gelhardt scoring after a couple of minutes as well. I feel like there's going to be a few games this season where he just gets in behind right to start games and gets us off to the right foot on the right foot.
I can't tell you how I thought we were on for one. The second that happened, I was like, all right, great. This is going to be a really good night. Yeah. It's going to be a walk in the park. I should learn to not think that, given how many years we've been doing this and supporting the club. I just got too carried away.
I think though, and I think I said to Dan a few weeks ago, like, as much as I disagree with Ajuan's perspective on, I'd rather lose games 4-3 than draw 0-0. I get the essence of, like, there was 49 shots in this game. We had 20 shots created, I don't know, 2 or 3 XG ourselves. Like, you think I'd rather be losing games like this in the sense that it gives me confidence that if we can get things right at the back, that everything can click and we can go and get it. Like, it's easier to think that we're going to turn this into a win than if we were losing games 1-0 or having like 0 shots like we were at times both last season and the season before.
Yeah. I think there are trade-offs, right? I think the big concern that I was reading post the game was, and there were so many screenshots of it, was how open it was just defensively. There were unmarked players. Yeah, it wasn't just the defense, but it was also midfield. I almost felt like there was no tracking back. Whether it's because we're already down by 2 or 3, I still think we should be fighting for it. And it's nice to see Joseph get the goal, even though if it was a consolation. But I'm hoping he gets off the mark and that gives him some confidence, because I think he is a good player. He just needs to get going.
He had a couple of really good chances. Like, he had that header that got saved. I think Slater played him in for a really good opportunity as well. So it's not as if, they always say, you just need one to go in off your backside, but it's not even as if he did that. Like, he really earned that goal, and he was working really hard for it. So yeah, you're right. Like, I think there's a lot of positives to take in that sense. And then I also look at the fact that to close the window off, we got in Giabi and I'm just going to call him Amir, because I don't want to mispronounce his last name, but two sort of central-ish midfielders. Quite, I think Giabi's like 6'6" or something. Like, he's massive. So you've got those stronger, bigger bodies in midfield now. Where no disrespect to Regan Slater, but he's quite slight. And you think if we get a few more solid options in there, maybe we can actually hold possession a little bit better.
Yeah, I won't lie. I haven't seen anything from him. I don't know what he's like as a player. Same with Amir. I wrote down here that it's unsure of the quality of the two, and we'll need to wait and see. I don't know if we needed a more stacked midfield, and that's where what I said could have been good to get another centre back.
It's a fair one. I look at Lundstrom and I go, he's been really good, but he's only one player. And I think having some support for him in that similar sort of style of player is probably a good thing.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think so.
But no, so that'll be interesting. I was going to say as well, Akintola, I thought, so talking about that Gelhardt goal, I mean, he's an interesting one. Like, I mean, I sort of look back on that game and I think, like, he did so much wrong and so much to frustrate, but also he was putting himself in those positions to be. You know what I mean? Like I think he was trying.
If by position you mean living offside, then yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Look, it's great that he got the assist, but I think the amount of mistakes after that almost evened it out. I would still rather see Balumi or Miller or someone.
Sure.
else.
Yeah, definitely.
I haven't seen enough good yet to think that he's been a decent transfer.
Yeah. Okay. No, look, that's probably fair enough. But then I guess probably my more controversial opinion, and I know that I'm very much in the minority on this one, but I would ask, have we seen enough from, say, an Ndala to say that he's been performing better? Because my controversial opinion on Ndala is I think he's looked reasonable, but I think people hear, 19-year-old first loan move and set the bar of expectation super low. And when you go and look, and you think of Ebioe, and you look at
That's
some of those wingers
in a while until recently.
Yeah, that's right. But you think of those guys and you think, oh, he's a lot better than them. Lakilo as well. And then you go, Lakilo, when he started, people were actually pretty positive on him, and it only took a couple of months for people to go, oh, lack of end product, looks okay, but doesn't really get offer much. And I'm like, Ndala's probably above those guys. I'm not saying he's at that level, but I just wonder, especially once Balumi and Miller are back, are we going to start to think, look, he's a good option off the bench, but he's not quite at that level yet to be starting games.
It's hard to say because we haven't seen what Miller's going to be like for when he comes back. I think we've seen really good signs of Balumi. I mean, he scored 2 in the under 21 game and has just gotten a lot of minutes. So I'm confident that he'll get back to the level that we saw him at last year or the year before. But it's a tough one because I think we want to rate Ndala so much, and I think he's doing the right thing, and I think he's playing well, but I think he's trying to do too much. Often, rather than playing the simple pass and actually getting a move going, he's always trying to beat 1, 2, or 3 players. In my eyes, it's he's like a not good enough version of Philogene. They give me a very similar vibe in terms of they're always going to take on a man, occasionally too often to the point where we lose the ball. And I think he's gotten better over the weeks because now if he loses it, he'll make the run to try and win it back. I think at the beginning he would just lose it and then kind of be frustrated. So I think he's growing, and I think he'll grow throughout the season. So I'm confident that when we get to maybe December, Jan, he'll be the confidence player that we need him to be.
Well, it'll be interesting because obviously with the transfer ban, it's only applicable for the window just passed and then for January. So it does open the door in next summer. These sorts of moves, and Ndala, Lundstrom, some of those guys here on loan, to potentially turn those into permanent moves. Is there anyone in that sort of class of player that you'd be looking at and saying definitely should be making a move for next summer, or is it way too early and we're just sort of they're doing okay, but we might need to reassess next summer?
I still think too early.
Yeah, that's fair.
Personally, I think too early.
I mean, look, you touched on there, Balumi. I think Balumi is probably the other silver lining out of this sort of game. More minutes for him. As you said, he got 2 goals in the under 21s. I'd be really curious to know how far off he is from starting a game, and even getting just a 60 minutes under his belt. I reckon Swansea's probably too soon for him, but I reckon he mustn't be too far off that chance.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping the medical team and the club take more precaution than needed in this, whether it's, hey, you'll get half an hour in the next 2 games, just so that we know that your body can cope with it. And then we'll see how you go starting, even if it's for 50, 60 minutes. I think he's someone that I never want to be in the position where we rely on a player, because I think we have in the past and it's not really gone well. I mean, when we lost the lap, we just kind of lost our goal scoring prowess. And I don't want Balumi to be that, but I'm almost thinking Balumi's going to be that. I think the impact that he has and he hopefully will be significant. And I think if we can do more to prevent him from aggravating his injury or picking up another one, I think that'll be the best route to go.
Yeah, I mean, you got that sense even early last season under Volta that he was he was the guy making things happen. Like he had that game against, was it Cardiff? He scored the 2 goals, and even I think the week after that, you could just say like we just kept feeding him the ball, and he was doing things, and you go, okay, like dare I say this is our most exciting winger since Bowen, basically. So it's such a shame with the injury, and hopefully he can just be eased back in. We've got plenty of winger options now, so hopefully he can be eased back in and hit the ground running when he does get the chance. Might do votes for this game and move on, because I don't think we need to dwell too much on the goals that Bristol City scored. Who are your MVPs for this one?
I had Joseph, Gelhardt, and Akintola.
I've got the same 3 in a different order. I actually went. So you had Joseph for 3, Gelhardt 2, Akintola 1, was it?
Yeah.
I actually had Akintola for 3, which I know was not quite what you were thinking with your comments earlier. But I liked his endeavor. I liked his energy, and found himself offside one too many times, but got the assist. Was getting forward, and he just seemed like a bright option. And I think having him doing relatively well does also ease that pressure on rushing someone like a Balumi back. So I think that's good that we've got those options.
That I agree with. The other thing I wanted to call out, and I know the majority of our supporters are not going to want to call it out, it was nice to see Coyle back. It was like, even though he got time off the bench, I think it was still good to just have someone like him back in the squad.
Yeah, well, that's a good segue to talk about Swansea, because I think that's going to be the really interesting topic for this week's lineup, because I think especially off the back of an international break, it's a good opportunity to have a bit of a soft reset of the team. It's not necessarily changes that we make. It's more about what's the 11 that we pick. And you look at Drame and Giles, probably both, not necessarily performing that well in the last couple of games, where you could look at Williams and Coyle both coming in.
Yeah, I think I would start with Coyle and Giles as the 2. I think it might still be a bit early for Williams, and I think changing both your right back and your left back might be a bit too much. Just because I think Giles and I think it was Akintola on the left, or Ndala. Giles and Ndala are working pretty well together. I'd actually like to see Pharrell Brown start. He's been cracker for the under 21s.
He scored as well for the under 21s, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, and it was an amazing goal. I'd actually be really keen to see him have a run out, and I think that's something that he can be really exciting, and I think he just needs some time. Those are probably Coyle and Brown would be my only 2 changes. I'm a big fan of Palmer. I don't know. I feel like I'm the only one that really likes Palmer. I think he's a confidence player, and I think when he's got the ball and he has the freedom in midfield to kind of just roam, then he plays really well. I also don't think Lundstrom had the best game.
No.
So I'd replace him probably with Palmer.
And and I guess that's where my thinking was with, it's good that we've got Kiabi and Amir in as sort of alternatives to Lundstrom, so that, because he's 31 now, which I mean isn't that old, but maybe not up to playing sort of 90 minutes each week in the championship, and so having options to either give him a cutout every now and then, or just come off at sort of 60 to 70 minutes. Of course, Crooks potentially. I haven't seen anything on Crooks whether he's back.
I don't think he's back. Okay. I think he's back.
Okay.
But if he is, then yes, I would put him there.
Slater, the other one, I feel like is becoming, thought of in the same way as Coyle / Jones. And actually, I was going to mention at the start when we were talking about the centre backs that we brought in, and almost the underappreciated element of Jones and McLaughlin, where whilst their quality might not have been as high, their consistency of appearances and fitness was actually almost their best attribute. So it's interesting now with Ajayi and Famuo perhaps not being as available as those guys were.
Yeah.
But it's interesting now that we've lost a couple more of those guys from those League One years. It does seem as if Slater and Coyle are very much the focus of a lot of attention, I guess you'd say, criticism. Maybe not criticism, but scrutiny, I think might be the word. Where what's your take? I mean, Slater's come in for the Blackburn and Bristol City games, which we've lost both. So I think there's always an element of saying, as a midfielder, when we're criticising the midfield, he probably copped some of that. But where are you at with Slater?
I I mean, I have a shirt with his name on the back of it.
I'm wearing one right now.
I still think he has a role to play. What that role is might just be different to what it was last year, and I think we're just trying to figure out the right spot for him to sit. I think he's still got a lot to give the club, and I don't know if the criticism he gets is fair, given that we bought him for 50K. And I think he's almost been overperforming in the last couple of seasons, and I think it's fair of us to expect the same level. I just think he might be in a little rut with him trying to figure out what his place in the side is. And I think now that, the window's shut, the team's at least settled for the next 6 months at least, we can figure out what that role is and where he plays. Because I still think he does have a shift to put in.
I think the way I look at things as well is that he was part of a side that finished 7th in the championship only 2 seasons ago, where he played he got a lot of starts, and he's at an age where it's not as if he's dropped off in terms of ability. It's, as you say, whether it's a confidence form, how he's being used, all of those things. And in saying all of that, I do think that there is a fair element of criticizing him when it's due, because obviously, like last season, missing a lot of goals, I think he can work on that. But I look at his, like, even against Bristol City, like talking about Joseph having, like, he played a really lovely through ball for Joseph to have a great opportunity. And I think things like that, his creative play and his ability on the ball sometimes gets overlooked, because maybe, sometimes he's not, receptive to a pass out from the back or something like that, where he probably needs to present more. But I think you're right. Like, I think ultimately he's probably one of those guys that doesn't start all that many games, but is a good option off the bench to fill in a few different roles. And so that's where I think, I wonder if, if Joseph's fit, sorry, not Joseph, if Crooks is fit, or if someone like a Gyabi or Amur is up to starting in this one, whether they come in for Slater, or if Slater starts and then they come off the bench for him.
I don't know. I'm assuming Darko is fit. I don't necessarily know how much time he needs from a fitness perspective. I think it's more gelling with the team, where I think Slater's got that. So if we're going to start with Slater, I'd prefer that and then bring on Darko or Amir. Yeah.
And I mean, Swansea's a good opponent for, or a good opportunity for us to look for that bounce back. I actually realized I didn't write down what their forms look like, but they haven't been too bad to start off the season. They've had a decent window in terms of recruitment as well. Yeah, they're sitting 7th, 2 wins and a draw from the four games, so only one loss. Interestingly, only scored 4 goals, 2 conceded. So very much, a low volume of goals side, which is interesting considering we've had the 5 goals scored and 9 goals conceded. A bit more open than they've been. They did bring in Cam Burgess towards the start of the window, so they do have an Aussie in the squad, and they did get Adam Ida from Celtic for 7 million. So they are, look, it's an interesting, like sort of, I guess, assessment of, like, I guess they're sort of looking to be one of those ambitious teams going for promotion, but from the outside looking in, they just, I don't know, they just sort of scream mid-table to me. Like, they're sort of like that Preston style side where you go, they're beatable, they're, at our level sort of thing. But who knows? They might be a bit more ambitious.
It's games like this that we have to go and score 3 or 4, and be really aggressive and confident and put them to the sword, because these are the teams that we have to be better than, or that we have to be competing with. Like, we can't get rolled by Swansea. If we leave here losing 4-1 or 4-0, I think it's going to shatter confidence.
I think that's it. And I think you look at the fact we've had Blackburn, Bristol City, Swansea as the 3 games. If we were to come away from that stretch with 0 points, that's quite a cause for concern, I think. I think if you were looking at that stretch heading into them, you'd be looking at sort of 3-4 points minimum, I would think. So to come away with 0 points would be a cause for concern in my mind, at least. But yeah, I guess it's a tricky one. So it's at Swansea as well. So another away game, 2nd in a row. But I don't know. Like, I feel like there's goals in the squad. I feel like the way that we're set up, if we're playing against a side that relies on grinding out results 1-0 or 0-0, like they seem to have started the season, yeah, if we score a goal early, if Gelhardt gets another goal quickly in the first 5 minutes, I think that does put things quite heavily in our favour, because I think it's harder for a team to sort of flick that switch and start trying to score goals than it is for us to then go up 1-0 and then sort of sit back and set up shop.
Yeah. I just hope we don't switch off defensively when we go up within 2 or 3.
I'd like to hope that performance from Hughes was at least in part because of the sort of speculation towards deadline day, and maybe
that's what I had said. That's what I had said to the boys. I said that he purposely tanked it so that Coventry lost interest, and then managed to stay with us. I don't think that's the case, but I'm holding out for it, and I think he's going to come to Swansea and have the best game in recent time.
Yeah. So score prediction for this one?
I have 3-1. I just don't think we're going to keep a clean sheet, but I think we'll get the goals.
Yeah, nice one. Yeah. I'm thinking maybe like a 1-1 or maybe a 2-1 if we can scrape a win, and would be good. I just really want to avoid defeat. Like, I think for me, first of all, like even a draw, I think I would take as a relative positive from this one. Just sort of stop the rot, get back on the right foot, and start to build towards next few games. Because I think after this, sorry, you go.
I was just going to say, I think we're getting to the point where it's great that we're scoring, but at some point we're going to need a result. And if it means we don't go as attacking and we shift it and play a little bit more defensive once we score, then I think we almost have to do that at a point just to start picking up results.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, because after this, we've got Southampton, Watford, Preston, Sheffield United, Birmingham, Leicester as our next 6.
Yeah.
So you sort of think,
sides that if you play as open as we did against Bristol, we'll get chopped.
Yeah.
It's going to be Wigan all over again.
Yeah. Maybe not that bad, but it's an interesting set of 6, because I think Birmingham and Southampton aside, I think it's a relatively okay patch of games, but it's also a really dangerous one where if we lost to Swansea, you're suddenly looking at that 6 and going,
we're not going to get any points.
Yeah, where are we getting any points in this run? So I think it's as important from that perspective as anything.
Agreed.
Cool. Okay, well, look, let's leave things there and hope for the 3 points on the weekend. But thank you for joining me for this one, Mike.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. And thanks everyone for listening in. Until next time, come on, City.